akiro ni kamana rakede ibokan e upanara keda lupoko ngize ko tuma misikin ibokan arabo minerals mameja so kwam e jasa lupoko do alupoko ni tunga itupuje constitution lo Uganda e balebe ilodo jo chapter 15 inera kron kamara keda alupoko kedi bokan inerebe alupoko eraini tunga land belongs to the citizens alupoko eraini nyo ni tunga so to malupoko ngun no erani tunga ngise jasi so na solidi kwa pengare noni ayiwara alupoko ngise pol inerona kroni bokan alupoko konyere unga bonguna nini nyobi bokan adona chika ito matemari ilodo bojo constitution chapter 15 subsection 1 article 245 lede subject to clause 2 of this article parliament shall make laws regulating a exploitation of minerals, b sharing of royalties arising from this mineral exploitation, c conditions of payment of indemnities arising out of exploitation of these minerals, d the conditions regarding restoration of the illicit lands alupokuna amunaros kedate songsate marbiai kwenye number 2 balebe minerals and mineral ores shall be exploited in accordance with the interests of individuals enera kisila lejasinyo o constitution lo Uganda ebe ibokani mun ne lemneri bokani munu ebetale munaraba bokun o tupita ipud luitunga ikulepe kalupoko ngun arde rapugani jainyo aiboko ebalebe for purpose of this article minerals does not include tomokisa belo jasi kopana ibokani ngwese kopa gold nyo bati clay elupe emaram asinge araba moru litusuma adukyo mamunera sinyo ibokan ngise bara kisiri so inerona kroni kamera ke ibokan ikoto netungana no kwapo miskibe nyobe bale kisi lo Uganda ikamra ke nyo ibokan so ekisile balebe nuchengunu kere rasi bokan konye elupe emaram asinge ne dukere ngini amoru ne dukere ngun mamunera sinyo ibokan so inerona kroni bokan kwape ngare noni akoto ngona solitate kerna iteso ebe ejame dane polo no to bibokan alu akopsin ni yarabun e barto sa depart apake akurita kiring teso na keri morabuna akurita kiring isirigi ni nyomun akinyet minerals akinyet iklabunu lipu laboli ya so akwap kopana kere erai morabun ailem da sirigin akinyet Kongo ne peni nera nanijo ibokan e barto tunga mun mabikorite koni kwese rainyo ibokan iloto jo Zambia nera nanijo kopa so oni kwape Uganda ejare ne boi oni de julak ne jautene litunga atupito saibo abokyo ninyo ni ibokan konye nyoba tokisho nyoba ningoshe jasi do nyoba potindiskana ningi story jo kwana iborne polo on kwa patekeno iteso idaona misiki nebe ejibo kanto na hii tonteso adauni nwa kune jasi mamdo nije nibe bukedi ya nyobe jai nare mama pukene limo kitoni nare oni tuwalo kwa maminu wakakironu konye ndaone tigogo ngebe teso alpokoni teso era alpokoni warering jasi nyo ibokan kwane kototi ya pugano long olimo kitunga be kwana teso enwa kunu nenyo neda enwa kunu kwana tetu miskinete number 2 oni kwa pateker na iteso idaona miskine be jao ni bokan e kotna anyu nebe mamo ni ija unuke dalupoko mamo na jinete be aina ntosinuka mometa wadiketa kopa nero ni borne polon kwa pateker nero na kroni boka na rejasi do balupokonu rainu dijeta dalupokonu ikidioko kwa dalupokonu apugan compare to dalupokonu tunga now edu muniboka na lupoko kona adu mi marete besa lupoko kidona chekoni atekere mamate kirimo kiti mamere borne job e kotoko anate na iteso itoto atekeri nara alpo koko ni pu erai ninyo no inono ne bala ko be customary land e kotoko anoni anyunebe ipima ona au kalupoko ojena kero dona cheka biobibe engonuka egeto sa ne jawari kaet engoda nuke jasine jawari kaet tete ne garapu gani alemu ni bokani lu ajene to ni balupoka ngai jasi nare bare kisilebe ilosi jai bokani ngunu o tupteta ipud le lopeta lupoko dadu ndo mejene lopeta lupoko yangarapu gana advantage ngini be kwa na iso alupoko pegina taresu yangara si bokan o twani arijo so ibor ne pol ne rona kroni bokani jasi adapu gana miskini be jasi konye mama limo ito ni be nyobe jai soroti nyobe jai bukedia nyobe jai laido konyi kota e jasi so anu angunu a yuasibira ko salu au kalu kwa piteso e kotna yuar etoso mata ichu etoso mata au katekerin anyun be alpo koko ni punu inono yuaro ni be e polon mutan kedwe e kese boundary lo oji wora baka i certificate of customary ownership ijoin pradum land title or dum nara ikwana ni joni egara iboki bokani lu adum be maro na lupo koka chenyo mamo ni medauni. Number 2 ekota tekerna iteso tomo dopo pone la yuarta lupo mama chamu kwa tuwa lipota gwela lupo kota iteso ni imo be musugunu mama chamu nara itunga muna echoa kade parondo chalo edarosi kwa na misiki na krono ipu ade paroni akro nero chomu be lithium kire jasi ni konye do kwa na on ilu okwap tunga lo kwap mame genete iteso lipo mame genete be mame de lithium nyo iboro be bei konye do kwa na aramam on yuara lupo in a way of ensuring be etungana logela ebuba kuragwela lupo kuriya ngitibe ebu ni ngona gwen 100 acres of land anunyo limoni etungana be ekasilu angini ekakuru 4 million bala be ka 10 million je kini mojo be jado so akuru bonga ilipate kerni teso be ineroni ya kroni bokan nerona kronu minerals and exploitation ekotoni idao ni akuru na take into demarcate our land locally ina benyo 2 mambo pokota itai no ne just wa mjijeni etungana limoni wa akuru 50 acres akuru 60 acres ora kona lupo ekoroja miskimeji ejame de jalu pokokon so ibo rekotono kwa pitesa swam itwale poto kingangunu taitai ngunu achoikina etungana le kota lupo ejoko jo alimoini ngisbe kwa okorijo angini season otachango ilukuna kwata angini misiri imeda ijo urasinyo akona lupo ekoro kwa niti so agara anyunebe ipuja lupo to akona lupo instead of agwela lupo just benari kuja gwela ipagisa akona lupo o just okiro raikon tetera kero sakiro no ibokana nu jemeda unare jemeda une polo noi obokana lu adepar bari ja depar konye kwa nalo echoa kale jasi Kampala lo eshomitosi noi adata miskimbe kwa nateso abongutu kwa na lailo ekotosi agwela lupo mama gwela alupoko erono konyi gwela rija kona lupo ekuruji pimaita kona lupo odakre ja papulai konye bobo abosna gwela lupo no ipu ekorone datrenyo alupo akirongunu akoto ngitesa miskini be ibokan upaskire nyo alupok ngisite ajo ikadisika unaone rakuna article 26 anuti ale mara federation alupok aneja situnga oyanga isodo kwa papura giro takirongu be mamsi sekia mamsi voting ai kire debating of parliament konye kwa pe local leaders mama umshoti ngina jok apugan ade matunga lo kwa punyo alupok o pai kisa federation alupok ejasine jaitunga ido kota igo position ngono mame kote parliament a chairman olemara ekisili ngone be obongo ne jasa pugan o pikes ne jitunga konye kade pikes a federation wa lupoko ne jasi tunga bia ibo idara tunga lupoko ngun anyu ne be mame gola rosta itai mame de manarota itai ngese pi malupoko o jasa wadiketa o sodi mama gola lupoko either by so doing dumunu jobe you are ritesa kese lupoko ide ne garre boki bokan e poti teso adumunu nyo adumunu ameda neja salupoko mu. The other thing I want to comment is akrona kinyet ibore ne ke unuko pano o Uganda gisa kinyet mamto mi sos be copper be gold be nyo konya kinyet kopana oro hoi malai jeje inyo akinyet eje kwa ani konyo ni kwa piteso ekoro kwa nune shaunu akroni swama sakai o hoi makere bunyori kamara kere nyo akinyet oni kwa patekere na iteso yara mabere ngadanga anyunu pa ko kurutu adalo konye on ko patekere teso ekoto na anyune be ilobi nga oni aneja pugan olototu wokiduwe a luteso oshomati kosin be kama nara kera kironu iboka nara itejo kwa na oil and gas itunga le shomtose kosla oil and gas ema metite sotoma luepu mamerasi wokiduwe so iloso na iterekin kera kiroto na ibokan kere medauna neja si bokan e kotona nyune be e jite so dal we shomete ko singon keda misia trakroni bokan tete kwese pote ganga kinoni kwa pala ilo be isonge si kusinachan isoke si ikusidue ayua sa wakubokani opona lo kido opona lo
yalama noi ido we've been joined by Dr. Tom Okurut dai chakane studios irokoni idare kiti pejo kiare ja kede our senior political analyst eja kaite Moses Ochole lomuni tomo studios ne toma pakne supana ne tupakini. Above all, the Honorable Minister eja kaite Okasai kokwenore MP amebukulo 10 idobora minister loikamnara keda kronupo iotone nyabuk otoma okwam akorobere bwaja uneja kai tom dabere olimo kada amal nate kerbe da ngese ichaka ne Tomo Studios asodenga losne jam chalat for her 10 minutes. Yes. Yeah.
Kwenye nene la lusa kwenye abunda wala amoro kada take bola hamito genio nukamdos ibokan kese jokis kese ronis kada nyobe beto na so.
Okay. Yalama noi. And let me hold you a little. You pick up from panelists lunana potogea utu otoma apakini ngia program. Yes, Grace. This is what we're discussing. What on any come to us across the boka. Ponebani hanibo opportunities leja se Teso arai ebaka beja siborulu ebete abokuna neo Teso aina kinteso. If you can give us even the general overview arai jepo leja rakone research keda ingich anwe kamna rakede iborolu. Let me give you the 10 minutes.
Akiro no apero ngene ni kamana rakedi iborolu. First of all, akoto ngate marbe. According to our question, how Teso is ready.
Yes.
Akoto ngate marbe. Komijia yoninera kwenye Teso is not ready. Why do I say so? Na soditi mambere. Okay. Mambero ni jeni. What we really have. Okay. Oh, nini show me the jeni oni. Them. Go down to the owner of the land. Arabonate tuene lope. Teso to jelo chalo. Leja iboro ngunu to mana alpoko.
Elopa misirido.
Alopa na misirin. Mame jeni beta ina kines. Mame jeni beta swam. Teje limuni honorable bay. Some of them mamotore ownership, land ownership. Mamotor. So eje teso to nen ibali bala bere. Mame sipok tako. Though we have opportunities ahead of us. On their opportunities. Konyete Sotelope has not been told what is going to happen in case of exploitation. Ege arare mining kwa lo iboranu. Mamete Sotelope te jeni. So kwana abongu ni bala jobe opportunities. Yes. On ilupe kete ni show meet. Jen keron bejas opportunities. Anu be opportunities ni jenon beje ebe tabunere. Na sondit yongoda na jatara papula kiringa kitaimwai aswam ngina kwenye dopo biwanyi jono papula nwe bala honorable mama ni keri shomtuni kamanara nyo iboka ka eshom toto nuche time ni losio na shomana dumbe jas ni kotai no eshom tos ikamare ngune konai aswam sine osala nete sotongon. So you get back and binyo bode better testongane konai hey benefiting her. Mame compensation. Achpak the compensation da potu kwa gwela lupo ke balar honorable. Agwela sa lupo ko kere. Nwechuak. Asala ketu ene lo ara tu ene na. iboyo poneke mame jenwe swamasi toma kwapana toma Uganda. So besides on adumu na swamsine itunga nation as an opportunity ne buni keda akironi boka nano ijas kedoni Uganda raiba boy so koni marmato ni bebu kedia oso di serere ngora oso di
Riki kona ya belting katakui
Emuria
yes.
You did not mention Iboronguno
That
Kere.
is the belt we are talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
So a ganting obeja sinyo opportunities. Nui punoi concerning our land. So idumo na swamsine irianguno ni be our places will develop. Elomunete centers centers will develop. When you belele bunos epoa kata businesses apotunga knocking the population will increase as the population increases opolore business otomana lupoko ara ibotomana aboisono ejatari iboka nangun ni jenoni so increasing a population ngaji made boy ipoi boro ne ponene ntotoma so konye ibongoni alimunu be Teso telo pengon kwanyin bones babu erot mere we shall have access roads as an opportunity mere hapukorero tolo iperot kwanoni a movement is easy from one place to another ilo setiwo kibori pedro na gwelana riboro besides that udumun bobon beje electricity achipa kato buko singina umuriangina deep in the village nebaka ne omitai arabonat serere than deep I don't exactly where neja siboro no konyi wanjobe eloma akim ebuna akim riengu njering ba chaka in pirin kobanda as I talk e what I chaki pirin deep in our villages are balanga way and so on. So that is another benefit that we are going to get or an opportunity of electricity coming to our places. Then we shall also realize be epota kipi yes anu engarakini iboro kata ngune kona alosta konye to help the businesses, to help the urban centers, because in urban centers mamone beta jetkeda gilon. So from nowhere we shall be having piped water. Those are some of the benefits or opportunities that I can talk about.
Okay.
Yes.
Yalamanoi do adanga nyunu Moses Ochole ya ibere to settle down. Dawai chakane anwai morokedo na kronu roko ni directed honorable minister ano abnera morokedoni. I think my team here is so much eloquent that we can proceed with this discussion. I just did a minister. Let me shoot to Mr. Okurut. Doctor Teso telo pobe nero na kronu kamnara kede ibokan. Tam to simemba ni chia na inere bas dabonebe. Mamji pera itiaka ibokan kede alupok. These things move together. And I know with your experience, you should be able to tell us Uganda ne eponeba ne beitro nighting akrono kamnara kede ibokan. Poneba ne beitro need to integrate our environment as we are doing the exploration and kamnara kede ibokanalu. Two, we also need to look at other countries. We have Democratic Republic now, Congo. Those guys have been dealing with the minerals, but people are poor. Is this going to bring excitement, or it might be agony for Teso as well? Yalama.
Yalama, moderator,
yes.
Colleagues. We're not talking another case. Though I couldn't from a different angle.
Okay.
Now, so did Bokana Loja see a quapsin a kere. Right to Bokana le tos le bet Afghano kidding. Ajau to Toma. So, Areja Pugano kidding Toma, a Japon letter to my Kisila Kamuti, a pon letter to my Bokanamun.
Yes.
Copan Uganda and a Jakis located. The mineral Jacob on a bill at our tier to be that Chevrolet disease. A lemon a kitchen lomojong. Loyamutek, Lelo cited them, I can let some icon, upon the Bokere Bokan, upon the Chakataka Kapun, upon the Dominati Tungada. A jacket in the door, I'm talking of a Savit in this Botong Red, a bomb cabinet, then a lot of the parliament. I'm not because I just la better. What am I take? mame koto na kuriana na Teso ka pa ne rasiba ja kurian noi jibore yare obukolo meta pukan ay moy bokan lo muno to mo bore bakay jiole pone jara so matela tutu bena atutu bena ko na Teso na kere jento na rana rai flat okay oto ma geology mam kuye o mutos be pero na jaw kede bokan lo de la cité a pas ne ja simol le cheba ke gogom le chil pour les samana to mineros konye kare yare karuni wangon ka ubu apugane ito sa mai dege to do ero sa va ngiti mineros ito sa mai dege ano ito sa na mapun ugana kere Teso ne le samata e boisho kere karamoja bonwa mi samata sama ko te kono pach ko pane angeta kin adomna mapu nyebo mineros se jasi na nara angicho ni minerals we jasi atoto beto merai bore pere atama be sama ko la puga na ga atimusu in fact ni boro na yangu musu lailo e poto ko ila la poto ko ga ta iboso na miso skipe jasi bokan so poto ko ga ta la puga na de we sama do asom do Uganda kereba e be jasi bokana ne
okay
slowly use ato sama pore solo mojo tos Loka na yangu pone solo no dege
Dr. Abuna ngai nyakunja nyiko kene to Robert Agwela si ne ndio do kwenye teo na nyiko eno kidoko program.
This is Voice of Teso 88.4 the people's choice.
Highlighted ide polasa. Skyview fruit flavor. Skyview fruit eralo simoni kini jone pega jo Skyview fruit ikoto kini jechie. Jula kina momo kono sala kini jiborari ido yalama. O mata Skyview letachi iporori jo ke kolong. O lele ke da Skyview fruit kede koni kalikai papero kon. Joka jare sianguni jakwa na koni ke da Skyview orange, citrus, ka fruity.
Skyview, go extreme.
Etwan, aro pedoro jadwaru no biano poti soma unos. Doba dengalo marai. A taxi, ebe potunti ne saneja ibongai. E generator, oruni besi muda tutu. Obila kina iswa gete na ikelai. No makoma, doba do ngaye no makini ngesimu.
Idare kiberejo. Kinyo.
Idare kiberejo. Aro kengali mono kini jo. Ikwa ikina jeri karai.
Ijo, imina kita iner MTN mai paka ngisi kwane jata tarika da dakika na nwipu kodomu mai paka voice bundles kiner ido enere chut koma midio bori atakine atatacha jo kichikak star idopet ikanyape enoti star idopet hash kanaito soma mai paka
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Kojenebe ejasengala ko chamisimu ni linomuni obon ko MTN onaba enoti iwoni idopet iare enoti MTN nisiriabu neteri ngiteloka Uganda Communications Commission ipedora dolo kinoko naba enoti ikanyauni enoti iare ikanyare lo mam itatacho
Ekatwan iyo gabert. Iyo itirorti sirigin lolo. Eke kilo ekon motoka. Echo longolo taxi. Itirorti ekon simu. A keyboard. Araba mouse aswam kon. Araibo yoga ikina kede paperi twasama akani kon. Konye iye mutolo ajiokak. Ngisluta. Etwasama sabuni na ka skin guard. A sanitizer kede skin guard hand wash. Take ongole abreja koni kan. Ijo itirorti ibo isho. Nwepedoreta dare kurutule corona. Adaoni sawa na luipo. Nara jam singese jia saidio boistikere. Mamo nipedora itiko kin. Aso itwasama sabuni na ka skin guard. A sanitizer kede skin guard hand wash. Ilosi akoni kan. Ngareni kau. Kiding na ikon bokor. Keda beleke kaneni kere. Skin guard. Ngesi inakini jo. Ayuara na idoli.
RNG!
What's with her?
She just tasted the new Mirinda Orange.
What?
It's so good, it makes you go ORNG!
Really?
Yep, there's something amazing that happens when you taste the new Mirinda Orange.
Okay.
First, you feel the bubbly, buzzing sensation on your lips.
Wow.
Then, your taste buds come alive.
And?
You get lost in a world of flavorful, fizzy orange goodness.
That's cool.
The orange is more orange, the flavor is more flavor, the fun is more fun. So zesty, so bubbly, so orangey. New Mirinda Orange, you have to try it.
Yebo hatekeri kwangen epunengon ngesi bong na kidoko program Teso Gang. Tumnadop lomarisan kanyangon lua parana ya tibong ne utomoshepka jengo kideja kait Moses Ochole our senior political analyst ido raida bobo loisoma ikwape councilor boekte temula bio councilor lo kanyet la your district lo Emuria. So we are talking about local government here. am chalata Grace Asio jaine tomo studios Boba Wing Boykit Tuburo tomo council like Kanyat Jaida Lim tomo o council the executive Ejaka tomo kurutane erai senior citizen senior citizen in the making twanle ko sharta krone kamnara kede environment jaine toma o studios ido somanges kede kwa Teso Cultural Union kwa peda minister loka environment barabe tomo line ya kede ejaka Jonathan Ochom loda isomai kwa pe executive director loka Landnet Uganda. Tom, let me have some few minutes for you. Utaja inun so up to speed amisi kine jok ebe neja sibokan keden webala kisil.
Ebo. Abalango be agia na para te musugunu ne Uganda. Aloskin te musugunu na pon la mo ne bokan. Aloskin te kes. Konye Uganda na poto kedo gas ai boy show. No to ma I some na science na geology to dikibe dilot yo ngina. Koti modu ne prokidumu je mineral sanin. E poto Teso late. Nara opono geology lo Teso na kwa na right flat. Toma dikine akrone kamto si e polo sama to minerals. Yanga tai boys na kapa marai boys na puakanyo borongun. So kolonga te pacho bapu gani soma kwa na atakine science e polo mo ere minerals melo ko se kubona. So ebu science lo te bana to soma dege tom geophysical surveys. Lo se dege kuyunga na so jukune magnets ko no general nyobe jaine. So lo sai lo period na interpreting I julaki ne pon waves una ta on nyobe jaine. Is ataka ntai boys a che Uganda kere. But the tournament I'm off na baka mineral map of Uganda. Boys na Uganda just a mineral ani. Bonga misikita I tap a map ngine joke. I table because my very just minerals. Anelu. Mame puak otamasi. Kai boys ache kai tejo ilojo kata teja map ngina roa ko dangina. Ugunye dots leleba. Konyon lale redo pe lale. Geophysical survey todu me apolo ke ajefa ke jainen ko ya mi todu ni quantity mas nyobe jai pra todu me jai ko nye dite quantity le tiale bore jai ko ngina ajefa ke dit so geophysical survey on somata Uganda so da es todo to ajautu ne che boro ne poesa ai boso mono chuna ngina bore this iron chengun kere alo satanga
which achuna we talking
about
about.
Ya utanga lo so ni kidding ne program adu no
okay.
Amafu
Na wache.
Samuti Teso na todot lokwa ni bore be tato parking na ne ngiside keda apuga na dum ni bo mapu ngini bore be normally so mapu ga ni tato parking ne I pima ajene be bore repuesa ngone jai tiaba yi ranges le do sa agwa kina gogo alo sai bo kara bo ja sa nyena ni mereke bo kana kere mera le bo kuno kinga iche wanje be dit itela bo kuno ngeskinga e pola de for itelo dumunjo nyena ni tai to ni mo akache bu technology lo e joko na le pedra aboko ni borong no tia le dit es konete bo kere so akoda tamar be ai temo kina repole temo kuta pugan ara tema setu dum no timino so ne puakane e pana ne be lo so pugan to so makeza ara tunga oto makeza la lo Uganda mineros kere ara do makino misiri kon akao kon koitoi kon ara ikere ara lo pugan ara invested ala apugan kere regardless ara je title ara ma je title ara ja misiri mineros lo apugan kisi lo constitution lo Uganda mon 244 malakwangin so rest assured we apuga ngisera ngera pedo ke puga ta kirong ara ngese touch sigin lo moere ngese touch sigin lo ipima herela do dolo stage lo katebe dolo mo kama kache stage nje polo pe wa kra kisila ikapu le pe district adomon district le ja simeno sa adomon le pe tema adomon kada jongo le dumakina nyo mino sal poko kon to mo kisla lu tetagalo potelu atakata ichute yo kijo takani be e koda nare tomo kisila tomo ilo tona moy borom woro minerals ki jala kina jo minerals kon ne no misiri kon mambo de ya jan ari jende jas ko fara mi fera bokon no lungune jasi le ko satro machine le polo ko nyai bo sha che kati na misindo ngena wore na busuka ngena bugire kwa ngena e jasi ngena kate gold le yapi alupo ko ngone alovio gold e petro ngene se to ngai boko so dai kai ka so ta dum sirkin so mambere ono Teso ane dum taibe are di mino radio kere le patna dum na re mam mino so Teso kere ko be pi maona mamo ne o gol are gol ko le yapi o kujo to ngai jeno to da ara mame tiono na mai go ngene iloto na mai nge boke atesa da boke atesa salo boke atesa na ngene jenta tamane be peta ne be je gol neta oli mo kere ko mambe boke atesa jula saniche no kera bona
Dr. Jala Kimbiro majo kwene kwa ngayaune jakaito Moses Ochole kede dakan tomo mejasi kwa na waikon ebe nera la kronu kamnara kede ibokan ido Uganda like any other country would want to survive and why ke una GDP catch to somaite ibokan. I would also want you to compare the poverty levels na rikija kwa pungina ko Democratic Republic na Congo. There are also indicators bonebe however much ejasi minerals ingina people are still poor. Governments have also gone ahead negotiating with the companies, external companies, to do this. Is Uganda ready in around in Kamnara Kede Ibokan Luo Teso?
That's what very Charles. I want to apologize. I'm not only late.
Shoot.
At the barrio now. I was saying Burungatun.
Okay.
My colleague is trying to see Papa came. I mean, Charles and the listeners, I think in this house, also Karo, Mr. Kurut, also by nature of his work. But he's also not giving us this, the scenario in Hoima. Punelo Yatata Tungangunu Uchani. Are they part of the expectations of the oil and other minerals? Charles and the listeners and Mr. Kurut, the biggest problem the African governments have faced in the region of Angola, earlier on you had talked about
Zambia.
Zambia, you excluded Zimbabwe, and you excluded Zaire in details. Once the company signs MOU with the government, I'm sure Mr. Okurut, with much experience, knows what happens. Any attempt to bridge the contract, the government will have to compensate the other company. Orene Teso, I'm sure Abiakere na lomu toringo. Mamlan title sedoleti kai. Ili kulde ngola ready to the council. Mami serving atanyo alupoko. Government with its mafias, and he has faced also a lot of challenges when he was working as the ED. Akroni sama. Lolo idilo si egwekin kiaring, egwekin roadblock, somebody is interfering. These are facts that we gather information in a different way.
Okay.
Now, ebu kwane company ngoni, also the signing agreement. You have also seen that leaders at the top level survive on commissions, including our ministers here already. So the company will, prefer to deal with a leader than the local people. Also, in terms of billions, because if you talk about gold, how many companies to put in like $5 million, $2 million, you like generalize 7 billion. Our MPs, our leaders can get excited and take the lead of compensation when they are not lawyers and they are not mandated. I could put the scenario of the compensation I took. On a compensation law I took. I touch a lot of money. Some of them are lawyers law Teso. Atwaka poloko. Irikimsage jokoti. Osote ba ya una ijene dabe. No, kada ya unisirigini. Itorere ni jaiso. You just look at that kind of mess. So itejo from ownership of land. My brother B.O.B. was discussing about Agularo na Lupoko. Well, you may be right, may be wrong. If you sensitize the people, they may buy the idea. Kwenye bejabi tunga wakona bebaka Lupoko. Mamji mikingonyo Aguilar. And the point he brought, I'm sure my senior, Mr. Tommy Jenny, where an individual attempted to evict Itonga over 14 kilometers in Hoima.
Okay.
How lucky are you? Ula sobane so my kinje boy 14 kilometers. Yo boni boy anin. Also the I on a statement benena renen papake, are papake chief. You get that kind of thing. So I think leaders need to be very frank. Also tell mokin Itonga this area Emuria wela moru adumuna kinyet. Establish the indigenous people under the exploitation, I would say policy and laws. About the protection of the indigenous people, environmental assessment impact, all those things accompany mining. Konyara imame community ngoni erai organized. Arema motore community ngoni prominent people who are honest, who will take a lead and say baka eka you compensate. Nara ida ebeto siminalo sapugani. I'm also sure and aware that government cannot just take and say we bonyo to desero tara esunyo. Government can decide to buy land somewhere.
Moses, let's first listen to this.
It's 3 p.m. Ajentunesa wakalo ngisinumti jo MTN. Itosoma pointa na konuka MTN senchu. Osodijo adona minati nuka titai. MBs luka titai. Arai imesi luka titai. Echikak star idopet wongon dopet hash. Oseku use points. Osodi atupaki ntubitai. Teteri dumuni aina kinede kon naka senchu.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Yeah, thank you. Yes,
so Charles,
yes.
There are two things here. The ownership of land. Aremamungare no kolu apugan. To the cultural institution, civil society. A pedorico pana get to this is not political, but aina to information regarding the opportunities. Also the achekero kwa Busia kopane jeri vala munare. Ejitu alu adum tu ede diski hara de kane ne bore ne mukule. Those are all the other side of the industries we're talking about. Epidori amunar pollution. Remember itungawako ane on Teso over 80% depend on agriculture. Kwenye kojo idolo neni. The law will say, Ochole, you must leave your land. Definitely, you leave your land. No one is bigger than government. But, yeah, some of these laws are very good, but they benefit few individuals. Of course, people will say government. But if government cannot address the absolute poverty of the people within the area of oil, you talked about the Democratic Republic of Congo, is among the world poorest country. But government agents and foreign companies and those in government who are doing mining and who are issuing licenses, who are doing testing, who are doing smuggling, including militia groups in Congo, they can see a place or sorted around a boy sitting in insecurity area. Mamji Peralo sit. And no question what happened to Aguilar Aguilar gold are call or copper, whatever. On the Bobone, I mean Teso, some leaders can be viewed as a target if you continue to say between I don't I program few individuals will come here and do politics. I mean one-sided politics of government, but development. But where are you going to put the people that you want to resettle? Do they have the ownership of the land? Do they have the authority to talk? Because government is people and people are government. But you have, few individuals. They will come here and right away. I cited out the case of compensation like took. In a compensation like a lawyer and a group. A polar de Paris, a compensation like a tenyo, itu ale kokote, itu kukej. must we again wait a problem of minerals? Di tunga atwani ara lupok erutari tunga imame compensation loan HIE. Number one, the cultural institution is very important. If you have to go to organize itunga to prepare people hygienic catch. What do we do? Or as it a very submissive nature to court as the only way to rescue people. The district council, econo councillors, all over the region, we generated by omitai bedumuno minerals. The district leaders, then you move now to the parliamentarians. They must come out and sensitize the people, not to incite the people. Mamekoto, I mean to use this situation as a political capital, but to pass the message, a winning situation, that the ownership of land, you see, Kisil, Edis Twene Kereibo, Uganda, Alkoyalo Simbarara, Arelos Yomasaka. Who are the custodians of information? Are the officials in the ministry who will send the information to a tycoon? Bekwano biajone abia ugelitunga lukere advise them to move to Abim. People sell their land rights. Narai adil pokono ane mamerai mailo land. Ere customary land silo olte. So amware pulida la lupo. Konye at least I have that idea. Adil poko kane mamerai controlled by a kabaka. Are controlled by individuals, not even the clan. The clan is just brought to justify the bad poker attack. Konyagola nasi is sapania lupoka bajaj. The clan has not stopped. So which means either to kwani mafia sulangi chunbene neseje estankala kienda belt. They will put in 1 billion. What is 1 billion in the local man? It can even buy half a sub county or even a sub county. Work in an acre, an average of England year 500 acres. Who owns that land? They can even double. 5 billion. 5 billion are rated 2,500 hectares. Order to Sajenu Bonbe, Rejayaro Konen. I think our experts like Papa, they may have also fear to speak the other side, but they can also tell the people the other side. Hoima is not heaven. I lived in Hoima. I did a research for African Union in Hoima. There are data things that we cannot explain. That I'm sure is also aware, because some of those things were on TV, on the papers, itunga were confined. That is to be touched to an extent, someone can change a land title or register your ministry. That is how dubious government officials are. That's how dubious the rich people are. A document, mama ke teso, mama ke jeno teso, even a bela ne mame jeni. Dali mo ine sube a square kilometer silu, and when say owning
Moses, let me hold you there for the 10 minutes that are allocated to you.
But you had given me 4 minutes. My clock. That's being corrupt.
It's not corruption, but then I the minutes are done. Let's shoot to Ejakaito Kurut. Recently, there was a report which was released in 2014 by Center for Basic Research. They released a report that talks about over 100 mineral companies operating in Karamoja. You're talking about Ikisila Leota Swamp to approve over next week and the other time, whatever it is, and something is going on. How best would we accept that the laws that these people are making in Parliament are going to help this country if we have either illegal or genuine operating in Karamoja?
Yeah, moderator, atatama kwa nyara to jama. Kwa I think abuto from uda Somalia mafugan the wealth of knowledge like mafugan.
That is okay. Yeah, we just need your experience in this.
Yeah. I'm basic research, and that's an civil society organization. If you're to publish what they want, Thomas Somkafugan. A genuine tobe puaka NGOs are publicated. They are trying to regulate them. Just legal shepherd individuals. Koyabo Beroni Tomanu Ngarakin Rakai Teso.
You know, we are trying to bring this because you were giving us Beje Kisil the parliament to
Akuria ne jai ne take up ne jagolana. Ita koto ngate maribe. Nare jaka to na bait. Ibore polo ducho apugane sana. What I've seen at all, let me somayemo. Eja Kisil establishing district local governments. Kada the lower local governments. A bet case as swam. A bet is to swamata coffee barra Kisil. A jolly. Jali na o teje sumu sada ti chie bore mona rosi oga rapugano kidinga monari konyore jajala atakana kai district otomo kislalu kamutos minerals kopane kaba alimo kinjo yulu akwana apugano kiding holds right koyema doesn't hold absolutely so areja se jamino kati Teso ara kata Emuria kwangin e district la Emuria number 1 ikoto jeni yoro tien kino jamino saibo so kwana upon the law minister some detailed study. Offers the officers case legislation tonight to go on. They have all records. So it was a little more Kylo Tarapugana because minerals kere Jako na Polebetra Domund. Lema Kissel Mojo only had one license. Mama Pugana General minerals that's two and Ludidic. Le Pelekeza Boko minerals, artisanal. Just a small scale, it is technology mode. Over Lepero Kesabo minerals.
Canan Balia Kai.
Can I just do a big licenses? So I kiss it like Tatle Booty. Ada Taka now. I generally be Lusola Luja Kala Jas order. Upon one year, Puna night icon, I jack in the song Kusi, Tup the take is an alright. I could never just kite on Haibo Shashi and attack and two. Back in Ekisil, the Bakai. Le somite ma buket agashi da uta working in. Buket e curiosity. District level tetena kron boyanin to makila fugan. So kwa nane e kisilo tete bute chama kitelo artisanal atolomundo kisela. Small scale atolomundo kisela. Jakini kisa pedorosho na bet kitasom kana betasom. So e kisilo ne bu na erusaki na ibosha ngunu no ikatu no bonjo kala wonyana. Achama kinulemi somite ojase kwapu na yarada. Atakano no Kuju. Nara itaka ndu ketu kuju buna kuganda ngara kines protecting the member kete mojo. Konye ibo na kota ngate wandibe ne nara kero na alupoko. Yes, Teso ne who have customary land. E mame land stena system is more secure than customary land. Like because my lora titles, they title. They were title. Nges wala nse koko working to masa iko nko. Customary land is the most secure system of land tenure for Uganda. Neje customary land system kopani kale kidio ke cheleta
ai romon
at the pari neja say titles na yare kwa na toma apugan course na ichu da sa gare na rekolomati kana apugan na ya down kada means la jangi na ai tagar ai wadik na jasa wadikare ka tomata Jasane Jones, some Bilan, where the land registration, customer registration, ma'am, that's a girl, Nakapugan. A girl, a chamakini, a chuka, some district, I was the county, customary land titles. To give it also, I jack in the title on the I was the cow, I was the kite. Okay? So, the senior Ido are Thomas Olafe Kanya Ping and Pangin da Pugana Sipokin. Eloso na tatam. So at customary land title cardinal. Nare customs law Teso Gala Cadalo Lango, Gala Bosa. Any customary system. Losawa Kakelo, can you buy a title, the customary land title Arakato Bilan, a Kelo Pocono, Alomaso land registry Uganda. It just get a gogong, Nadia Cascada on it land title. Command them a major land title. Conera customary land. Rights concurred, that's protected. Lord Eber a lipo a taker, no knowledge as a Pugan, lower local governments. A kissily jacket a pedoration. Conya Somoka Coromage. He was a popping in some Mammy border. A lot of could how this buy a cannon. Or Tamoda, a buy a cannon. A kissily jacket is no a pedor. konya bo cha chene be je kitilo tem yelo kitilo tem bala kwana am jilo sing na bele kitil na re gogo kwi so ateke no teso le poto minerals bunda puga tema otomo kitilo tete keke mineral right kere ra chama kita Uganda zbon mami to ne pera jana mineral right lo mera Uganda why company just in Uganda non-citizens are not allowed to have mineral rights so mineral rights are Uganda so kebu company
your higher technology.
No, mineral rights adanga limo ya chama kinirwa na uni artisanal mineral right Uganda wana chama kita small scale Uganda wana chama kita large scale wana chama kita companies li wadi kana kai ko Uganda ikona hii aiboko minerals so le mulu chelu ya mamete pono ndoko no so ndai wadi kaun wadi to small artisanal mining ekoto ngojo temo ngina ko tu wadi kaun o temo barango ne atotubeta na ngisa utanga iboke kabode hauta boke ka gold
bilem do bere soda be
do ko kota puga na jenbe le bojo le tiai are kota puga je tiai tiaka kino jara lo tiaka kino ta puga na cheda kwa ngin selo sio kiselo so ado ngono aunto mabe to mo kisalo be tabu ne kata lo so na adumu na rerengo na adumu minero so teso koto apuga ni sine no pop no district no temwan kala no parishes kana kot shoma te kisila le kamutosi akesa gogong e power ya kitike zinyo e kisili do de so mata ito so mata
Tom, the two members here nan raised a very pertinent issue be kwana ereja apugana irekin binyobeja iteso. That means we should also be preparing ourselves to be part of this. Even when you talk about artisan, it needs technology. BI, mamko na jiwa mitebe, araido tina pak, nebe iturapugan anyi nebe, idwe luoteso mwasai, perona uloto shomete kesida akronwe kamnana kede energy and minerals. Tetere kwa nepa nabe, edol dapak, ne bokere, iboronguna ne oteso. Are rikaridi, because akesho manda, mamera ina ilosija ileja una karedo pobongu nijo. Iria maros doke da paka lopet, osoto kwa dwe dadum na swamsine.
Artisanal mining mamera ina ilosija shom. Ilosija shom katunga ile jange takalaya, ai jange golden. That's the organization the association na artisanal mining la kopanabu na ngaitodi kina Tanzania. Small artisanal miners association na Uganda. Le somata somune just card le da otado mun experience ko tororo. Beta buna tutu beta card we lara yoba muyanga na da to ajen we jego. Abu na isha laki ntu alwani nbe. E pone lo tai kulo sa kona
yeah and
isha laki ni kesi
technology
na association na jasi. Somata association ngara kiti tunga le puaka noi. Apon le mo yata kise gol. Mera wa mo tunga le waka. Jasi teso le jasi tororo ne jasi ne waka sai so le da ne buda shaki ne si anyo teso. I think the pole say more gold one. Are gold are coming.
That is it.
So konye akoro na isho mon we come to minerals. I think akoro isho mon we come to the kapun. Yeah? How to manage money than going to look for Aisha Kiro Nigerian minerals. That is Shajora. You shut it down. I mean, my major chong in it. I do like in that time. Upon let's assume that some business law come with minerals. Ngese kota jeno. Itia outside shomni because there is very complex geology sciences are kodo piriana.
Yeah, we need to be there. Doctor, we need to be there.
Just ko fan le polokte mining engineer le polokte right at okedi. Bamuntu okada kwa ngana.
Okay.
Rejasi. E pukoro na isho. Mama right ne pukoro tunga le ko sa shomo mining engineering le ko so porto lailo. Pukoro ngin mama kitai. Kwenye skills lo koto nane ngesaje mu skills koto ebu business lo asomo ale agi asiboka nataka no ane andibo apiriano ne koto to genete merete trebu ne che to na okinga keda apiriano to na la nyese ane so nga metu na soliti koto ngal kere this one right lo skina lo I think I made minister some aisha na kintunga ekiselo etetet aisha na kin nyo ba pedro so kus nyo ba pedro so jo le makine bore e boka no msilikon yo wa pedro kon yo wa pedro alo chalo kwa ne sai chala kintunga konye oso civil society ajasi aja kailo macho bilan ngayolo lejo planet one NGOs they just they come to salo pokong land net unu kere ara kwa na kesa I round ajibuna kidding aisha na kesa lot aisha na kintunga and give people rights case nyoba pedro so just keda isi tomo kisila nyoba pedro jais lo chalo ja pedro so kwa nyoba pedro sa so much of mining business kwangin nyoba so much as mining company kus kata ne eslo amujani sa so mining company kus ara so and so mining company lo seta wadi kaun fole kisela fole wadi klasa wadi kaun cost company terebu ne che company le bu ni okinga e bu ni kwa na be ko sa mameta iskira technology ayo no technology ne ko da so manare keda isi konye company lo kuzo pero ya ra gwele kuzo company ra around partnerships so manete ziboro ese koto kwa na shana kini tunga esi bu ona tsa na be te o be pola na ko ne be ai ba kana puga no we have to around ready is several some mineral company when someone in mineral company show you don't need to be a mining engineer someone in a company the right minerals you just need to be a business person ushoma ya kiselo gaja sama je kiselo na kwa pero meri Uganda go show ralo mineral map lo Uganda lo bapu kan to tai bo show kere to ya chi na maingo ngena idu munye tata kofa jangena bokete jangeta kalen you gwara to danis lo sengena so business. What do we bring home? So that's the one of it. Dominos le just Teso ni. Mama puga na fela papa ni IT ni kintu ngabe tiai. Dada tuka so me ero sabe. So mana ma ko ngini. Akodo nga ile pilo district. Kate district le just Teso ni kere. Like I think I land officer imagine trying to come to the minerals of district. Wale mami.
District natural resources officer.
Okay, this is natural.
There's a district natural resources officer, district environment.
So
those structures are there.
So cause ngunu es kwa na beta pili yake na pili kini ajena kisalu kada ponla ngara kana takesa kwa rucho kuno kwa my experience kira tunga ngunu da tos innovation kisa na drive kisa gera ingisit so discipline is tunga kana jato kusong I mean lo sita ngarin do no atabala ngisibe aibo shache ka to imangena no aboke akinyete yes it just konteja pegeta tomo kisalo ko pani kere mam ji tonyo dal poko kono mi ja kita jo competition ngoli po ngadu ke rolo do redu kita nyono palisato ni kumi ngon to wala binya se kese rere akela mshiri ite togo ngona la mtu ane oroto ke togo ile tata gire ma cheto ngada poto pegata ke rafu antoni ko te ko fanya ta ke sirgin bilete ko ko nyarjo
Okay. Thank you. We are taking another round of this discussion. Moses, there's also a tendency of governments selling, negotiating with the external, the technical people, the technical companies that we always talk about upfront. Chapakti sirigin adapu gana ijaun tosomao, and you will not understand, you will only be wallowing in debts.
I think, Charles, the whole African continent is in transparency. Information in European countries is just the information. Also, European countries is just information among the United citizens, especially I would say security or intelligence. Information regarding environment, regarding a certain law, the negotiations, the loans government borrow, we may not understand, I would say, the agreements. And I'm sure even MPs may understand. And those are government secrets. But what is important, the bottom line, those who have the chance, minerals, will they be compensated? Yeah, that should be the bottom line. Who is again championing the compensation? I told you earlier on that lawyers, like any other profession, work to benefit from victims. Either they also exploit victim in pretense of helping. The other thing, Nesi itunga kere kata dum bon be Emuria dum tere minerals. The representative of the people is the district council. It's a parliamentary district. Necessity be to champion. Anyu na be perorete kwesi aitachitonga. But my biggest worry, it's the word connivance. You see, it leads us to connive with the company. Lebe aitachitonga. Itu dio patch. Eya unimele case. Opo tu ingare no district leaders. I would say Mr. Kurut. Abuburiki umele case. Apart from the few of us who rejected. So dodo kwani these are billions elosi around district. Mamle machapa ke chetwa ni wanyu to I call a billion. My biggest worry ni theoretical punulu. Dua compensation. Also the valuer, the government valuer. Another big problem la domo to itunga. The government valuer. Heya unekesaje e pedorila ya uni to misguide the value of the no. Be na eka erera 2 million. The value in the acre is not the size of land, but it's the importance of that land. It is by the inheritance. Nerakoni apedori as a citizen. Eralu poko na bed yerumun arebe itosi jo. So the government valuer may have a good reason. Aibo beregiado lere. Arera isoroti Hilos office of the town clerk and the mayor. And this country has been let down by top leaders. Arero district Hilos alumni LOC5 osera alumni DC. Ijo arebete company to compensate it 50 billion. The top leadership don't mamugwe the interest of the people. Ora ilekosi aingata teker will connive and collude with the company. But boys na jo I touch 50 million or touch 40 billion. Do ina so billion ini ikan. Is saving kwa ne company ngon an average of 15 billion. Odo kwa ni kwesi ngangali tunga bigiresu usually the same time and they put people now under pressure. Nesi bobo aina kitunga de muno ane japuga. Because there are so many commission agents. I call now leaders, I mean commission agents. Mambo bukane etwane chamuni eranga. They see this opportunity. Arele na kwesa iduke goropa Kampala, iduke goropa Soroti City, iduke anywhere. Anga duke America. Ito soma hete itungalo kwap. The People's Republic nesu kwa chikakini. Mamu kwa ngare ne chamuni. Even a local NGO. My sister, I work with civil society. Ijeni yo what the leaders do. Erabella polo ni be but I believe you don't convince council. I mean council doesn't know. It is him and his executive who are robbing the district. So the biggest problem, accountability and transparency. Whom do leaders represent? They represent the people. And how are they representing the people? Through borrow the power. And we are supposed to exercise negotiations. Isone sebe itaraunu itunga lilimoini tie company ngoni be mameka isone Emuria ka 100 million. Now you are going to do a oil drilling and akron kere are we don't know be how many years ebe yada una nini. Also di yadu munu itunga akota swam kape siboni. Irasa esu victims akwatata. Ibala jobe bejango paka Kampala lego ikiningo. And that's how people are distorted. Eda ukwanije I touch a 20 akaisauni. It is evidence enough be alupokona nenkerela lukuminyo akaisauni. So we need to prepare itunga. Some people are going to commit suicide. Echeto mamu jamna losta bim ara los karamoja betatu anini. You need to counsel the people. Tell people that this is not the end of the world. But it should be in line or passing the interest of the people. I mean the alliances. Erike company wanna do the alliances. What are the negotiations? Konyili mujo bonbe the mineral is for government. Let me tell you, Charles. I'm not inciting violence. Put it to maybe below the company one. Put a JJ powder. They put a ichwe. Itunga kalupok. People itunga lupok. You need to go slow. Understand. You table the eviction and say below Garis or Aswam, what is the compensation plan? And besides compensation, what are you going to put in that area? No, Tony Moi in the Niger Delta in Nigeria.
Okay.
Mamu kamanaro na itunga liso ameti kuli company lo kinyet. Mamu edauna deriko ejai. If you follow the history, if you read the history, ege utiko de towards compensation of the indigenous people. Emena simsugunu itunga 30 years ago, 20 years ago, itunga resulted in Nigeria. Bekamanasi isamakala pugan. And indeed they are killing them. Ikamaro dalimun abnormal money. Narai amamei understanding, the proper understanding between the owners of the land. Inekwani gwekita Shell, Total, and other global companies. Amamei agreement, consensus will not reach, or party governance. And in Uganda now, the governors are the MPs and the LOC5s. I mean, those are federal governments. In Nigeria, those are federal governments. So now it is the local government at the district. Failure to come up with a comprehensive plan or sort of making the central government. So as a district, we are not going to endorse this.
Okay.
Nara itunga kosilu eja lupokonu mamelo seta chamun anyong and just before I conclude, I want to make it clearly. Compensation mamelo lupokoboni. Kuna mama na take care itupuje kisira lupoke joko. Edu muto ni ere compensation total na tesi. Muto ni tole right jo. Isomoje kisela joko. Edu muto ni karulo ida uja lupoka nyini. Sorry your will. Ajale na lupoko ngunu anuko anjalo sitini niche. Konyene pote itu ngalo bebera. Lue koto seme down. Pote ngalari tu ngadai rapa those closest lo lue kito, lue nono, lunyo, ai rapa neni kere. Oyano te quest the whole attention ibon be onyo alupoka anu yalama.
Yeah, abung otomo studio. See, we still have time here because we are going up to 5 o'clock. I needed to bring Jonathan on board. He's there waiting for us to let him in. Because we want to understand some of the things. Ebe dobodo kwana inerona krono to prepare etunga. Ochole ane ejakait dao ayauni boreni ebuni kwa ne twene no kwa pangina momobe. Is it the same situation? Remember what happened in Kamoda when there was an activity, an exercise that tereti anyine polo ngara kinere tunga. 2, we had also government interest in saying ebe ngara kintunga krono kamana surveying alupok and so on. Iboroda nguna poto ya auto bitunga ngani na konye. Basumbe no, why wouldn't government just law a pole beito tunga konai surveying alupok than sponsoring, because akrono alupokoda rasino adedeng, and it was in connection ke diporolo inero nane ebe bokan. Yes, Jonathan, nyakun mere bosojo anwa genuine insights kedenu time on.
Charles, and I'm happy for the submissions of my colleagues, Dr. Kurut, Moses, Bob, and Alice. I think they have touched on a chrono, which are very pertinent. And I think for me, the entire conversation, the key issue that they highlight, I agree with, is the need for information regarding the mining sector, regarding the law. And I thought that maybe at this point, I could sort of just start by giving a quick highlight of the law on mining, especially in the angle of where I work in. So I couldn't go by just highlighting the fact that Uganda, especially under the Constitution, Article 26, is a very express provision protecting preservation of property. It says that everybody has a right to own property individually or in association with others. The property means anything, including land. Specifically, Article 26(2)(1) goes to talk about to forbid arbitrary deprivation of property, except under compulsory land acquisition. Mitele jata rapedo ademar itetuwana na lupokoke. Konye echamakita puga na pedo rengin. Na balarebe areko da puga to acquire alupok in for public use, morality, the law gives government powers to acquire land compulsorily. Now, if you look at Article 237, it clearly talks about land ownership and states that land in Uganda belongs to citizens. Uganda is one of those few countries where land actually, what we call radical title, is vested in the citizens of Uganda. And that land is according to the four land holding systems. We have the Milo, the freehold, the leasehold, customary. I think customary is the one that we have predominantly in Teso. But again, at the same time, that same provision recognizes a periodic to acquire land in public interest, and goes ahead to state that Parliament should make a law to govern issues around acquisition of land by government. At the same time, the Constitution also asks government to make a law specifically to govern issues of land, and that's why in 1998 Parliament passed the Land Act, and basically at Section 2 and 3 of the Land Act emphasize the provisions of the Constitution regarding land ownership, that it belongs to the people under the 4 different tenures, among other things. It also goes to indicate what are the characteristics of all these. Talk about Milo, customary, field. What are the characteristics of those tenure systems? Now, after giving that background, then we talk about minerals. What does the law say, basically? So you have Article 244 of the Constitution that provides for minerals and say that Parliament shall make a law regulating exploration of minerals, issues around sharing of royalties, and I think Bob, and Dr. Kurut made mention of that. And more importantly, even talks about a law that provides for conditions for restoring land which has been used for mining activities. And then, of course, the Constitution also says that minerals shall be exploited, taking into account the interests of individual landowners, and the government. Apollo Kebe is not an absolute right. It is subject to other interests. So one of the key interests mentioned in the Constitution, Nyesi Itunga Ikulepe Kalupo, in which the mining activity is happening. Now, from the Constitution, we move to the Mining Act. It's a 2003 law. The law that Dr. Kut has been talking about is under reform. Specifically, Section 3 of that law, because it's the current law that we have. And this has also been mentioned by my other panelists there, that minerals are vested in the government. However, that right is subject to other conditions, and one of them is on ownership in relation to any land in which minerals are found. Sapolo kebe, ara de jatarafu gana pedorosho oto makero no ibokan. Mama pedoringin era absolute. Apedoringin is also subject to apedorosha achia no itunga kwa penat kulepeki alupok. Idumna jebe, under the current law, when we talk about acquisition of mineral rights, there's you can acquire a right to retain, to mine, and to dispose of any mineral, but you have to do that subject to the provisions of the law. In fact, there are restrictions that are provided for in the Act, and I think some of them Dr. Krut highlighted, the need for the right to be owned granted to Ugandans, people above 18, and if it is a company registered in Uganda. Section 11 of the same law, that holders of mineral rights comply with that. Laws can meet the Constitution gives us the right to have land. And this also says that any person who is applying for a mining license, exploration license, blah, 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 should show written agreement with the landowner, the area he or she intends to. When Apollo, you don't have your mineral or whatever, and start a vocal pocket. Before you give a license, you have to show evidence because the mineral, like we said, belongs to the government, but the surface rights belong to the landowner. Surface rights, could you now ne dukito ni togo ne the and so it's very careful owners of that land before you can do anything on the land. And in a Kenya license, for example, to mine, yes, the law gives you an exclusive right to do the mining operations, and it also gives you the right to put up the equipment that you want. The reason this is very clear, the way a company license to operate on your land. Mambo jike jalo madu kukineto gone. Nara, if it's necessary to put a certain machine to actually do the mining, so the law is protect the company, because then they can't do the mining if you, for example, the landowner stops them from using particular equipment. Now, this is also something that Dr. Kuru touched on, which I think is important to highlight. It's stated in the law that if you have a license, you must notify the appropriate local authority and any authorized of your intention to begin operations or to cease operations. The notice has to be given prior to district. And the reason for giving to actually ensure that, to verify that actually you conform to the restrictions and whatever conditions are to do. Then so for example, it shows how your mining affect so if it's from in the righteous tongue arrival barrier as much as possible within the try to you can only really encroach on them if it's mandatory, but as much as possible try to avoid, for example, Karamoja Neja in Ilipolo, to avoid disrupting those places, except if it is impossible. Those conditions are there to ensure that people maintain, the landowners do not lose all the rights on their land, and to prevent you from, maybe, causing food insecurity or something like that in the area. It's just to try and ensure that you only use the land that you need for the mining activities to avoid affecting other rights of the people.
Yes, Jonathan, but then ayauti ejakaite ocholeane across it ne bala bonebe leadership engarnone stakeholders, they have also been infiltrated keda krono kamanara kede corruption and even forgery. How does the law check issues of forgery kede angopin narai ite majo bonebe ekona chalo e auta papulai doc rokoje na jara geuna iboka lupo tunganan ikutanyo jasi. How does the law check the forgery issues?
You see, the purpose of the law is to give the guidance on what needs to be done. And the reason I'm speaking like this, like Dr. Kul suggested that we need to give people information, is that people can't protect what they don't know. So if you don't know that you have right X, Y, Z, automa in the mining arena, you can't protect that right. So and don't forget that we are the ones who vote these people, and the opportunity to quote unquote punish those people in a certain period. Now this is a chance for us to actually control measures. For example, elections, if a person is helping them to protect their rights, is that the kind of that you want to vote the next time? I mean, this all things plugged together. It's a governance. It's a governance issue, and that's what we need to tackle. But like I said, protect what they don't know. That's why I am sort of trying to run through the law first, so that ultimately, when things start, happening in the region, you know what to expect. Like, these are my rights, X, Y, Z. So if where do I report? So, for example, there are offices within the Ministry of Minerals and Energy where you I think the officer, Dr. Kuru can correct me, where you actually get information on mining, where you can actually lodge complaints that this is happening in my community, but people have been hijacked. these cases, I started my career in Karamoja. It's one of the, not the best case scenarios really, because a lot happen and people are not aware, and people can't protect what they don't know if they don't have the right information in the law.
Yeah, Jonathan, ikolbere bosa jalake narai kota bone to most studios in Pejo College Asine. We'll be submitting more points and we come to Nero na Park Narolo. Let me go to BOB. Bob, we have been in local government. You know all the things, how the business is conducted or council when it comes to land issues. In Karamoja, elder, they are not even represented anywhere. When you look at anywhere, we look at the district, maybe we can talk about Teso Cultural Union being represented in the land board.
Now, I want to first thank my brother Ocho. Is one of those young lawyers who are just like your talk. So DT, I was serving as the Soroti, but sitting in an executive under District Council Association. I used to have meetings with the Office of the Speaker of Parliament every quarter. We used to have local committees every quarter. What Dr. Papa is saying is it true, but to a small extent. The local government at the district level, it doesn't have that too much power that Dr. Kuru is saying. Local government district chairman macro ni kamera kidenyo a flying school ikapuno le mune flying school mamere district nyabuka yi edi akedi otuma no flying school akara de kisna no sorotina ituma lo seta dum na mukiana de kisna polo no soroti right ngalo local government twalo chalo wo konye edi akedi director la mamjelo si mara disimame mambori limu nijo au ikisala lipuka to square ba local government act the eraja sa kirot konyaswa mshoit mambo rijula kijo kade munarosa kiro nare e budget le university lo soroti e budget lo flying school adekis na budget ikapunu ke report direct from Ministry of Finance direct to those institutions itumali managing et kapunu munu mamere council lo district so idumuni jobe akiro nera ne korenera kuna bait a local government act limoni jakro to jasa the local government shall supervise konyiro do jona direct la dekis but I don't report to you. I report to the Director General of Health Services. Mama bon kini jo. So kadi wanja tioni squape lo C5 kwape kansala aneji director of flying school director lo chancellor lo university are director la dekis ijo kwape local government leader to nailo C5 elimono jobe I don't mama bon kini jaijo enge nera okere twalo kai lo Kampala. So idumuni jobe akronero ni kadi minerals sino eje district natural resource officer eje district environmental officer Konyake swam erain edit ekisili lo 237 article nera land ownership kide 244 minerals mami bore bede natural officer swam ni kamera kede minerals o district mami akiro kera agogo kere jai Kampala ngisabala ngobe local government act kope abungete na ikisila ni pugata bugashano kwa edita gogo ngane jai singaro kolonyo local government even say, let me even not go for about flying school university to even Ashomane secondary Isokwape district you only send a body member to the university to where to secondary schools but secondary education is not a mandate of local government it is central government because it's central government that does the recruitment of secondary school teachers through the Education Service Commission. A district is only responsible directly for primary education. Kadeja unati uniso secondary, you only send a body member. So local government, we should not bring the issues of minerals. The local government. The issue of minerals, not local government.
It will fail us.
Ekote kisirido ija kisape de rocho so lo chole mun. Maybe konyeko pana mami kisila lo constitution. Ejectos eli munu bapugan. You see the constitution balabe the minerals belong to government. But which government? Central government. No district. The government they mean in the constitution is government. So iboro mune kotunga mesikinede. Mame kotunga tebe council of district benyo. No, akronero nu iboka nanu era central government. Local government meja pedor. Two, itunga lepote aswam even NGOs. They are national NGOs that are cleared by Minister of Internal Affairs, Minister of Gender. They even come to the district to just sign a visitor's book and say courtesy. Even if you try to check them, because were cleared by the minister, were cleared by the commissioner. So they will tell you, a DCDO, a commissioner, or a to Chalo Aswamakesakiro, because they are cleared by the what? The ministry. So, a koto local governments to be given their rightful powers. Kebeito, merenera nero tabo. Ene wakrunga bonga akronero ninu. Number one, akronero chomera akronera si serious. Iso ingare no kole seki ya iseke lu. Nese jationis. Narai, ese kunijo kwa pe district councilor. Beti jainera kiro ni kama nara keditunga liboe kitijo. Eroko. Ara ejo NRM, konyo roko, eroko. Ira ejo FDC, konyo jokak. Ara opposition, gang. Konya tionisi singara no kole sekunta ilu. Ngese jationis. Ngese ngopi kititunga lokai, lokwap. Dr. Kurutu, ejaine to defend government, civil servant, ejakisili, ikipu kisila. Etungana liswama pugan, ara liswama tu rapugan. Ijibu wakai oath of secrecy. Iso amaija pugani, ikiari je Bible mamu ngalo salimor ayaya na pugan. Ara idero no mje betinyo, eje Dr. Kurutu. So edio civil servant liya ulijo ready eneri ni. Mame pere ner ka ngo kedo chole. Na ara ikiari Bible ay dara ayaya na pugan, ara ari tunga mamjini mokini tuwabe rara jo. Na ara mame kisile chama itijo. So when civil servants are talking on radio, like Dr. Kurutu papa, mamji blame ngengesi, aswam ni swama ngengesi da, eje kisile bala be ikiari jonyo, e Bible.
Okay.
So isole sekunta enyesina. So eka point mangali mnari yanga jo question siche. What I want to conclude with is this. Na so dit ekoto apugan. Eba Dr. Kurutu be balacho. Na chuna kire kengese eka itela. Arabera mungaji kupana ngapukuna ne dakro ngatupa na kiro munube. Achuna beri nyube baka beje achuna.
Angisema da bachuna banina.
Oleme reporter. Jenja apugan mekura ngopi kitu ngalo kwapo. Apugan olem kise reporter. Inera ngisi be district ngisi nera na papo Kurutu. Ema reporter jo district la Emuria. Ema mo soroti ekota apugan no Kampala. Oya reporter na be soroti district esquape district council. Iminero se jaso district kwesi lu aboiso nu. Mam si jeni. So ekota apugan no lache reporter li kamana rakedi bokana lu angini district oya ona reporter kamana rakedi bokana jaso district keso temo wana keso chalo case. Number 2. Mame kota apugan eitoloto Julio likisila ekwape. Kwane jende kwesi beje eje corona agas to reform land ikisila erai borne betunga jenube nyobo nara eje kisili lo ipugata ibokan kopana inera kroni bokan berasnu wapugan konyalu poko nitunga nisteja porsa giroto ekoroga sharam kineja kaito chole obito alma ko bio balo maso campaign lo the land belong to the people abete July konyo potungo gongo to kwap ujele na pugan so ibokan bala Dr. Kurutu beraslu wapugan yes konyalu poko nitunga nisteja wakona pugana ya ebe kerari bokanu itunga nuapuga na imin alupoko do ratu ninyo nuapuga konye potungo gongo to so ibokani luapuga alupoko nuitunga ebaleki sin mamjale munedia bokana alupoke tunga nane mame tunga nane chamunit then now you find that royalties ebedi ya chekene lopeta lupoko percentage a local government lo tem kede lo district nyobo kotapuga na julo kisila ngono limo kitunga number 1 oya usa mapu kede information kamera keda kero number 2 olimo kitunga lo Uganda kede Teso ebe ikoto se jule kisili lo mojong nyoba tioni se kisila lo mojong nyoba ko resko sa swam kede kisili ngon meretu be kisili lo minyo ingara kini tunga angeta kini dongo akoto ngate marbe topic le raile joko iso kwa pingaro local government ikoto situngo meda utu ibo kaneja meda unutoma icha Teso konyi bala sebe oya una report ali kamera kede bokan 2 mame jule mami consulting aitunga olimo na iso absolute jaso kisil tetebo kionyo ibokan so angesakini iso kwa pe council of district nejeja kato chole la Emuria da kuronga sharam kito la Emuria na sekunumesi iso ibalebe ikoto itunga imela ututomo boko na lu ijibo baka royalties ekota pugane tutube kisile balebe lo kwape dumuni kwa nailo petalupo konyo olo mwapugano olimo koso ebe era iboka na ngun 100 million idi edumu natunga nanlo rel petalupok idi edumu ni sub county local government idi information ngoni koto so nara mame koto itunga atwania tumarere ngusho reject kwesinyo la suba.
All right.
Charles, I wanted to say something.
Maybe after Madam Alice, let me first bring Alice on board. Nara kwana bobo effects and impacts that webe tona dumun. Nara sudit ijao ni ajuksoma jokide civil society. Ijenjo bonboni Teso ne ijabere akiro ni kamanara kedi kuro.
Yes.
And now potakiro ni kamanara kedi bokan. Ijai kwa naluo bugisu. Nara inera bukedia kachumbala, koli that belt. We have also talked about this side. Mugisa ngina will be saying akinyete nara iboka nalu ya jasa lupokokose. Teso alailo ibala ndane be no iboro lebe time da ikini so. How will that be harmonized?
Yeah, yala manoi. Akiro ni kamanara keda boundaries ara bonati koron. Kapa civil society resensitizing itunga. Desensitization ngone kotageno halem ni tunga no district so the sub counties anyu ne ponelo igirne arari korone rai kamanara kede district ekota anyu ne poli kamanarere joining on hands ai bumakin teteroni tachauni ikorono ngun. At one time ajai engunget lajai between Karamoja, that was around napak keda abim ajekor la outer square Maria. That was the time na ponatare. In fact, people came together pot no kumi or poto. If you remember that year na yarte ritunga obodangon. Pontos tunga no ingare no kumi opote no abim opote no napak opote no Emuria. Anoeta chaune korungon. So we need to sensitize people. We need to awaken. Tonu po district dangun. Che nara mami quest the podo itos mami dunya nara keda neje ngungeta ngun. So we need to awaken them. That time na lom na taringuna no etachane ebore korungon. It was after atwane no botakan. Urie unetedo ingare no anitunga no harita keri chewe from kumi icha Emuria. So urie uneteditunga na bunere ne pepe. So as civil society we say a sensitization is key. Anoite kenyuni tunga teta ritunge geonete anyu ne ponlo itachane koron then kwesida bonika you are nyo akeche lupoko. And you are like I worked with Terelepa. We used to sensitize people no ija anyu ne ponlo and it was free. Nyon so kape staff alo staying na anyu ne poli bumakinon so with the paralegals they tachane ko raikinete nyo iraikinete ligoi or something to show bere boundary. They raikine japa apply because jama punino mno showing your neighbors keditunga ni borete alupoka un ijuelo palupoko. So mne iborongun ebeti presenting at watem do de tem kwani ngara kinje kona alemundo kwana to process a land title. That was how we're doing. So sensitization is key anone ngara kin wakitunga about koron.
Yes, Moses.
Charles, akutongo limun. Biboro lwelo mutu, especially the minerals. I have two problems. The accounting officer, Mr. Kurut, you may not be aware of this. How town clerks, city clerks, and other people abuse power. After all, the PS is my friend. From the Ministry of Local Government. Balabonbe, a member of the council. The PS is my friend. The second big problem to loot Iboro. Dali mo into ngabe amenarem kada. Mama is the Secretary General knows me. As take care of Teso, aremamo it looks like Quenyun and come together and defend Iboreni ebete common man. Anyuna lupok government programs, NGO programs. Asoto na itiak imame Iboreni era 100% perfect. O na itiak be nyo Ibore rono, dobo nyo Ibore joko. Dobo nyo Ibore pedoroni etepeg. Dobo nyo Ibore pedoroni a jamun. Na so ditiongo within my capacity like working a term. mamji lo maro sub county lo abia epi malu poko adisi vene inch arai mam tunge genete na arai imamoto los 5 alu poko imamoto rek kawal alu poko imamoto rara adisi alu poko rai mitunga. There must be a transparent system. Igwaikina elosi ones are somite elosi wan ngoni ara imam sejene korula lupoko ara imam itunga chamanara kude etache elosi et tolomon ara ichuti na be itadumune mineral because you are all speculating there. Utabero ni aiduara konyare eduarun be jeborelo omorulo elepite ngolo ranga lo district esbrek kunyara wai ekunyara wai ngini o remora beresa wai ngina be executive benyo executive does not own land eral pokon mitunga ijasi etupakinida organizations ka tichu lo iboma itatekere ekoto papo kurutu iraje senior ama intunga na beiti ekwana krono ane pedoros nara effects munulu luneroni. One of them is pollution. Abo city aja onunu kode ekuselo erono lo ikwam suli jenete maga neni je wara ginen berlo ja sidori eri dorole tonga ja tubori aneni ipupuntenyo be masi je waragi even no mamjo masti it tejo rivers like the Delta River una jira munakinyet ejitu ngale loste apaikini mama kiringi anga rail poko keratu tubete angina jenengo ijane nangi itungali depending aito waila kur laipiti barin dom mamu akinyet odolta lupo kokech konyo pedori to affect o pedori amonari borokech esibore na baka ibunbe environmental assessment impact reporting on kotomori report na be pedoreti tunga edu looking to analyze a pedorete mistaken Charles and the listeners. Another critical thing nesi itungalu atutubeta ngeni igwa ina kapa kisel ochama ina itunga ngunu adumna swamsine ijenja swamsine no industries yonyo kore unskilled labor totally ngolo mamera skill olosi jo semi skilled labor olosi do kwanijo the professionals.
Okay,
so
let's first have this.
It's 4 p.m.
Gentleness awakalo ngisinu mtijo MTN itosoma pointa na konuka MTN senchu osodijo adumuna minat luka titai MBs luka titai arai imessages luka titai echika star idopet wongon dopet hash oseku use point osodi atupaki ntubitai tetere dumuni aina kinode kon naka senchu
Everywhere you go, MTN.
So Charles and the listeners, I9 it to awareness. They say information is power. Mamera to use the political capital. I9 tunga esaniki tunga misikin bitin konadi double konabo sitina subidi family cruise. Nara even the number influences compensation. It be beneficiaries bidi bajasi ne. Charles and the listeners, natacha tari Chinese itunga obwebe ijujulun. Making ojo no bijuju na no soroti katakwi na pak anai opoti itungala choa kolo tutagwela na pak na kapripirit olos jo moroto kangole nyina agwela that road reserve osote gwaniki even kiosks toma. I think Papokuru and the listeners in the amendment na lupoko, how long should the new tenant be compensated? I think the detailing either the origin of that tenant. Konye, the overall constitution allows a Ugandan, to live Aboy Sitadis Kero Uganda. So Charles, along the compensation, nene jatunis. Mami tunge pedo rete adumu inerino iriaka. Do pedo rete nunyo on nechekai lawyer. Ekotipuli da nega ngai ni tunga. Kotega ngai ni tunga. When I to information, civil society to me should play a neutral role. anyunda bun berai ne see a bridge between government and the local people. The local leaders in Solo district, we need to speak out. Political matters e gitara kuda kronu affecting to satekere. Ibore ni affecting at Teso to kere. To me, mamera politics. I come from the Democratic Party. Mami ngalo se gwaiki na kaijene bonbe DP ngare na de party kere na Teso. Ibore bete me down itunga I will stand. Charles angeta kiningo mamu I district ya nedu muto civil notification be poti degei aporitoi. In a scenario tino raibala Somalia itidege uninomno ne kwap ngabruti around responsible. Adumeta reporting on anejeri on teleba kai GIZ. Esabu ngadumne reporting on. Ada ya announcement in ebe kwenya ni tonga. Konye amame ibore abaka stakeholders meeting. Ara edi lozijo to speculate beja gold are mame. Number 1 abete gwa in the stakeholders meeting. Lo just civil society, religious leaders, obunboro yo cultural, nejatu kutuna ichu, obunboro yo political, the local leaders, and maybe area members or parliament. So Charles and the listeners, I think it was an oversight. I gave Pima ani mame era na solitolo na about 5 years ago. A potos una ne. No abubo sokosi no Emuria ngina irimirimi sinoi. Mame report obo lom. Mam si dum tor kape district na mam dum tor kapa even le gopti ni yemuto mam dum tor even a publication ile watamtapu gani I mo minerals Teso amenadomon. Now this is the second attempt. Why not involve stakeholders? Mam si balabinga reno kubole saitai ejipolo kola lu ejachoa lu boyeto center ne lu boyeto kanisan they can offer advice kunya ko idunga pa kinetiti mamilo se kwani e kai kin be badu mununga kinyet aldo mununga gold e darata bero ni e dola pa kinyeni e yuti ngo ijaisone e yuti ngo toni apolon kwani so mai kodichu e buna yaun information ni mamilo samoronor mamilo sadodanar e darata bero latiti nkisi bai be report la dolere e dola packing in be aseun kapir aseunu mkongoro aseuna gari ara ikere we shall speak as a region asote boroso da lip areas ngunulu eseuteri boroli ngare nok from the MP from the NOC5 from councillors to help take care mama take care atwanyara sakoto angeta kininen yala mango
utakona na etekere sala washa atuberoni neja ichu do konyete bungna adumna mchaltana we shall have a one-on-one then angarte do konyete oni simuna puputumbe bakase etunga okengangina but then jaka tom kuroin kwa naja bekana kina krono na so it raising at a krono langrinoi netiro tose environment kutokindo kwa na etunga da jenebe do bere Uganda da alopet kapakina bia arautulo yangarete akrono ailem borolu narai ite moni kopokwa na ebone bebe wakati company lo Uganda you must be registered in Uganda a company lo kinga ipera bunere wadi kauni Uganda and they will do it but benefiting kechetunga we have even seen logai ipota gwalanarne but that money goes back to their country. How do we get capacity to ensure we do our things balonane build Uganda by Uganda and we benefit from what we have. Then too akotoin bobokwa naso da genun akronde kamnara kede information sharing ipo nane beto ronado mne linking on mara ko ni bubu yaba kasenga no ko be lwe se ununo ije pole minatar bokwida buburi ni kin borolu even yo kwape soma nema ijeni jaini ngosha no ejasi ineroni ni kamnara kede alupoko mamere ibore ni tet ene be tipo bojate marbe be isi akrong na parashangun you know it
ebo yalama waka kiro no ene rata kuja ko nga itete na credit eja kaete a councillor ejero lebeta pugan councils as from ebeta taisho mikisila kere amisho mete local government act born local government act ni saya ngote kisila to bota local government decentralization ko je ngole kisile kerelo Uganda referring to local government kisila like kisila nema ngoni kere je section kere chut kere power the district nothing does without the district the local government kere jasi so isho mata is kisila shomati kisila lo come to even health come to education come to kere local ne somehow rucho kitete keda this local government okwa so idumu je ne bakaze guta ya shomo ikisala lo central government board you will supervise now or law kisile che yakiti your how to supervise that section so I'm sure me take kisila law not read the government local government act born ikisila kelo Uganda since Uganda is decentralized and execution of projects kere jasai or district so ngole kisikele jai referring to the district even lopolo na le minister le better minister ko na seeking jakine minister re nguna a seeking a power to district local governments as authorized officers le better somna allow le better minister is allowed to do that so it kotesa in fact ngaza atun sacha bwanga soman kote aboga dumukida councillors just case well of us kada local decentralized act koje other laws diming case yet cases are carried refer to them so show matangun the rejectors are paid show mun mameti travel genete two around us councillors da messengers lo akiro no afugan you know by us we weta akiro da afugan so some other afugan we sakiro mam achapa check wadi kata na rekesa lo just kisilang ne bele betra somlo konya kuria ne so ne ba ja kata langina na ikamutosi lo ranga lo just mo lo ranga du tu bena kere society ngeze tata tenengu just nga kere sas ese de rasa leadership list no konya ibo repola cha moto ngebe ibo re kaditi tunga ido metonga le cha moto chalo cha moto tunga ipupa kero abe bakai ma tunga shomete ma mete forum se nebe koto lo tai shome kisilo tetele ya utapuga na ri bala je to marbe ya unapuga ne kisilo tete kota puga na yangu ai ko na jolakin ojara tungo kiko tungi disepote so misa kwa ngebe civil society justice ne to fill a gap ngon aisha lakini tunga ara puga kati when they did error surveys mama error survey mama raibe ota icon I more minutes I just to get geophysical survey so matos ko musugu no sec ai mapinga to so mate betalo sec nara general do kwada toloma puga na mapu ask your account ngite kon ka wadi ke balo na je emini salajo lo ka ko ngam no mapu do teso de je kino jo je ni bolo le right way wo moja je kin sa puga dal sa puga je kun there's a way two ways
so there's a missing link there.
As cows ngesalas represent Afghan Central so councillors lo district lo teso lipyo ngase wadi kate balwa wadi kate bana je mean sale come to minos be ko sa mapu na ne bu Afghan ni tolom after Euro 7 come to minos lo teso ijaki no yesi mami dare tebe ko sa puga no ines just up rangi that right of information rekisil so adanga ajakala in local governments because my work I linked to the local government. Look at that someone ipuputoza ko tata because you have a right. You have a right and you have a gogo ngina ngitu da pero we go to so we are demanding for this. Arame ekawa de kai chairman castle le tonga le se utozitunga can write. Ipona sholu akura na to konto da akura na mere ne bonere teso bone jai bo shokere. No kamuti tunga lesa otai epona mamke che sana do che boron jula kinata ke so misho ogata ma working no tunga ara ngondi tunga konya region tunga kiro ara people informed just na so ma Kenya timi jong so matongo Kenya abonga itoga lo Kenya so my constitution case assume ti tunga constitution o chalo ya ngina ai boykina tuko na edmasa ko sai shomere ko na barabo ne shume tunga ishoma voluntarily mera taba be jiwe nyara out tungi kule peke lose kago na records gradually kisel so on dane baxe mwa gogo ne pola ishom and ask aingitu no ne beta ishom don bala ne come to environment o kisela kerelo apuga no poko bala kinyeta ngolo ko ngote gwake on soma apu kan kisilalo gelara sisata kisilalo gele soma poto roko kare so Nigeria no poto roko kare so Congo sisata ngun kere kisilalo Uganda tetene ngunu kere mamo jiro sa som ke soma to Nigeria mam environmental assessment ngini kere ra ebe mamo ji buno district ay mo minoro mamo ji soma ta bere ngin asome environmental assessment ya buno district mamo ji pra la me district soma ya so kisilalo to ka poto jasnin so instead of the councils we soma te kisilalo apugan we come to the environment come to minerals gangate si gangate si akrono yo pote minerals loyal pote le beta bunde ko nyi bo ne beta to pagin ko pani ada ba fuga na to lomu ne mineral map ngai bo le lo singina mam ke ka fuga na bunu atema be era kwa na ne mineral kuzara kwa era kwa na be mineral exploration is a bait mineral exploration jet to na jet ara companies le pote because exploring a be mineral mol na dumu no achona rangna itiaba yese jaibu sadio and so when they put on a mineral exploration put on a block na mineral exploration mame book mame ranga rene ratu kodora kai office of vote board japa ka onde tela kere kosa mineral exploration put na bokun kin ke ro don't ya ngasi yo ngicho ndebe mineral le pola ram no better pola pugane oh e polo I pedo so kana ai jula kina do stage na kona ai bok e do stage la bok bas tomo opono tomo bora lukere tunga unu kere lo just toma what the cow knows nare mineral exploration is tolo mona takese tiai quantity let me know jaine nyuno ane to ningi na jara wote jane jange na kidding ne mame kwa ne this ko nyagara ron mineral exploration this nyagara adolo na achuna I was not chuna na ara mama achuna boni ja actually dita achuna polo ye kajo orungoto ngene do manjo le polo mere ko yemere ne ene re dita ne ngina do manjo le polo that's exploration do kwa na exploitation munde pota da tu na no mama pun ka ta no ne ta ese geone do na mapun e lo ko kise buna buna district be jakin sa license ya buna ko no ai boko ne so kana la sene automakisla o ga se yala masobu kisla lo puga na bala kwana o get sa tatam so asom go ne polo kwana still nya ko ne jai this local e polo sa go konye bakase ka ba chakase sa go na akora na fuga na bade koraja fuga akora polo ba kwa kama nana
yes arabe kama sikwida nare kwanado
ebe na kutonga yatakine first of all akutonga shalam kin papo kurut besi vo society koteko nai alosta konye konai to sensitize itunga era bait kopana as I talk orungo people running up and down I'm more to process for certificates of customary land ownership akwenyu tungu na tipe. Then these people come to the district. I was in one of the villages for a meeting. People are not aware of this, what is happening. So Kopani, what they are doing is because he said Balakota Limoro already or what happened, I don't know. People are not aware of the Ebure. Edegelo Kopani Rimilo. And then the other thing I wanted to add, Honorable Chole, in Wela, Daughter Chakainyo,
Mark.
Ijay already. Then Morunga Tunde Chakaitai. So we shall wait for the next step. I don't know about other districts.
But I also attended a meeting the other side of Bukedia where the same doubt.
So
you see what they are doing is area survey.
Yeah.
Just in case like that's when they start.
Yeah, that is what they have done.
So get to map. I was okay. Report the government mokostunga. This right now.
Pano program loda be inga ibera be tell mokintunga nare kaneli mamu chalta ngini kwa nebe esipoiti chebo rengna inga ya be mokintunga ba abor bernane sipoit bere sona sipoit kwenye ra nwa kon be jaidone it is not
Patri. Aramedi Mata.
Geological survey. Ngora laila pote asoto ini togo etungonye utu. Ekwamini lu idege amu. Tenimbo betunga career nejara disibe. Now, this is a disaster. Akitana rosito go ama akiwe mamebo ne kone porotide gaitoma already asile uriana. You summarize because we want to get Jonathan on board. Briefly, answer this. Let me first have a minute with you. Okay, thank you.
Maybe 1 minute.
Yes.
Tejo, we don't want to make this discussion an issue of interpreting the law and discussing the Local Government Act. I'm not going to look up misiki. Don't start marebe. Kwana mokojio Madam Ali Sebe. Oponide gopoto bitakata Maxstones. Onyetio rai kwana ochole ready to cancel in Emuria. Alo sit neje pilot mun be ijobero ngaya unijone nyo. Elimone pilot mun ochole be. Imam ngaje ni jo. Narai edege ngoni mama jukunta Emuria. Jukunta kai o Kampala. So apel rosho likotoso. Ngesiti ekisila chama ni be. Ibu jo kede program la pugan kekede dege. You've landed in Suru district. Like you Papa Dr. Kurut, for you speaking from that perspective no Kampala. Iso jalmo kinijo the really things ke jatarai kwapune arangola chuna is my parish. Konya akroje jalmo kinombre. I've been a speaker at the district in Sorotia for 5 years. I can assure you Nibala Jobe Jerry Poto district be emame.
Let's first have this break.
This is Voice of Teso, 88.4, the people's choice.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
You look stranded.
Madam, you look beautiful. I hope you could be of help to me. Today's youth keep mocking us, old men, that we don't have jobs. For that reason, I'm looking for a strategic place for making chapatis and mandazi. But I don't know whether I'll get the right baking flour.
Sir, you are at the right place. The only baking flour that has made the youth to buy land, plus everything they need, is drum. You can use drum baking flour for making chapati, mandazis, daddies, and customers like the taste. You can use around 3 cartons in a day. Isn't it surprising?
Where can I get it from?
Find drum baking flour in shops across the country and their branch here in Soroti, located in Oderai, opposite Goshen Primary School. Call 0759 722 126 for more information.
Are you a saloon owner? Stand a chance to win big in the Move It Get More for Less promotion. Win up to 1,000 shillings worth of stock in a draw when you buy a Move It hair pack worth 150,000 shillings. This pack comes with an instant free Move It hair shin spray and apron. Look out for the Move It sales van or call your Move It area sales representative to buy your lucky pack today and get more for less. This offer is valid till 30th of July 2021. Terms and conditions apply. Move It, all day confidence.
Akaisare kide yare okodakan San Tomon do dodoro kwa nasa ngare line kwenye do kwape ajare heated debate ne kama na kede kisil interpreting this and the other. I want to give 2 minutes to Jonathan Ochom. Strictly 2 minutes. We want to go and get our people.
Now, we need to sort of have a thorough discussion on the law. Maybe we'll come to a session to basically people's rights in as far as mining and their land rights are. Like I told you, in the law, there are provisions that guarantee people's rights to land and the effects of mining on their land, how to maneuver through. Now, you talk a lot about information. And I think that's a very critical point. So, for example, communities need to be about have a right to be informed before the mine operation can begin. They have a right to seek information from various agencies regarding mining. I feel sad when I hear, my colleagues there in the studio who are leaders, local leaders, complaining about how they don't know what's happening. And I'm wondering, have they ever raised this issue in their council? Have they written a petition to the Ministry of Energy or something like that? Because those are things we need to do as leaders, other than just, whining on radio. About information, like what kind of information do we need to go? Access to information is a right in Uganda. We have a whole law that talks about that. And it's important to be mindful about the timing of the information, what point should it be given, the format and time of dissemination. If you know that people listen to radio more, a new vision or in a
in a print media, which probably reaches few people, and then give people a chance to get information using different channels. And I also think that at this point, it's important to know what kind of information we need, the communities need to know. So for example, from the mining companies or those doing exploration or whatever, I need to know the site. So where exactly are you checking? What are you going to mine? The scope, how long are you going to be there? What part of land is needed? When is production expected to start? When does it expect to end? What's the nature of the equipment that's going to be used? Because people need to know. People should have known that, oh, we're expecting this machinery and so on. But from the government as well, people need to know, for example, what's the making process? Like, what's the whole process? Consultation a mining license, for example, is given. What are the contact information? So if a community has a grievance, who do they reach out to? Who is the contact person at the district level, at the middle level? What are there any emergency management plans? So for example, if because of mining and maybe a site crumbles, what are the areas that are going to be there for facing the issues that arise from that? Then from the community also, we need to know, for example, they need to give a clear understanding what are the impacts of this on themselves, because something they cannot that ecology barometer. So if you do this, maybe it affects us. So give this information to responsible stakeholders, and then community processes and the potential effects. Understand, if you talk about land, you're talking about Teso, customary, what are the processes around management of customary land, and how does that play out in the mining space?
Okay. And would want to hold you there because we've been joined by the minister. It's 26 minutes after 4 o'clock, meaning we have few minutes to end the show. Minister, you were much aware that we were supposed to start the show at 2. Now that we have 30 minutes, I will not add any time on top of 5 o'clock. We are ending at 5 o'clock. We want to bring you up to speed. Kwapiko kwenore, Minister Lore, ido ikuraso amisi kina joke nare achamtungbe. You've been following this show from the time we started. So meaning you participated in any way. Take us through when we talk about minerals in Uganda, Teso, there are also concerns here and there. You would be able to give us the idea on what is happening in the minerals sector or subsector, the developments, and terms of exploration and exploitation in this country. And then give us briefly Nwekamnara Kede Teso. O kapak ngesi yangonerono. Yala masoja dolun, otoma pakna kwa na utatare tunga lomun, angituna kesengi setada che.
So yala mengo aja auto radio, yogesa pupoko. Kuna ngai se alama kina isa no ai woro nengo enerike da iso radio. Konye donelose. Konye japano nine. Abo kina ngi sete na ngi sete jakaiti loe moderating enerilo. Anwado munebe iwanyu no ni bori bokana lo ijase Uganda. Ijase adoketa bala aongon nwebe itaso. Na sodit ijaye aporito ina idege amo unebe aibe jasi borulwe esit bale jasi minerals kwap. Eda wedege ngola poritoi ijaye bongun oporitoi. Unieta ibuaki na keje kwop. Are daona anyu ne be jesi bale ibore ne jai lailo. Ija do kwa na iju ni bobo surveyors. Abunera roanare ai boy sitting in. Do na wuni na wongo ni kini. Abunere kwa na ai bok drilling.